I am muted. I am sorry. I pulled an Alex this week. Welcome everyone to another bonus episode of Talking Smack. 2 weeks in a row. Alex, are we making this a thing?
You know what? Let's just make it a thing. I think we should just surprise everyone who listens by going, you never know when we're going to drop
It's
something.
true.
It could be today. It could be yesterday. It could be Friday. Could be right now. If you're listening right now, we drop something right now.
Yeah, I think ad hocing some bonus episodes every now and then is fun, as long as it obviously works for our schedules and we can just make things work. But D23 just wrapped up yesterday, and we needed to talk about it because Disney's the biggest entertainment mogul in the world, and they own everything. So it would be ill-advised of us to not touch on some of the things that they debuted. Among other things, D23 is their big biannual let's raise some stock prices event that they do, where they announce a bunch of shit that maybe 20% actually happens, and the rest of the stuff just kind of fades away into Disney mythos.
Am I supposed to have looked at some stuff?
No, I sent it all to you.
Is there anything I care about?
Baby Yoda news.
Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, I am invested. Let's do this. This is great. I bought 66 shares of Disney, and I signed them all to Kevin Feige. Is that what I was supposed to do?
I think that sounds right. Just shut up and take my money sort of thing. Yeah.
Fantastic. Let's do this.
So this one slipped by me. I don't know. Like, there was some Moana 2 stuff that happened. And I do have to say really quickly, one, Twitter's algorithm is just absolutely broken at this point. I had a bunch of stuff show up on day one and then nothing. Like, I engaged with this. I liked posts. I did all sorts of things. I did searches for D23, and the rest of the weekend, my feed was empty. Like, they are clearly just moving away from Disney stuff because Lonnie is butthurt about the advertising shit that he's going to throw money at for a lawsuit and lose money on that. But that's a different story for a different time.
I felt somewhat the same because you were sending stuff, but it wasn't coming up in my normal threads. And then all of a sudden, Sunday night, the places I normally look with, they were just all stacked at the top, like 55 things. I was like, that's where Josh found them.
Yeah, I don't know what the heck's going on, but maybe Disney's intentionally burying it too. Maybe they paid to have all that stuff buried because there were a lot of leaks. Like, I'm pretty sure there were more leaks from this than there were for Comic-Con, which is bizarre. But let's dive into this because, yeah, Moana 2, that trailer slipped by me. They released it, I think, like Friday night, and I didn't see it until Saturday morning. And I was like, where did this come from? But the Moana 2 trailer didn't do a lot for me. It felt more like they were just like, remember this thing? Remember Maui getting hit with the darts? Now Moana's getting hit with the darts. Remember the Kakamora? They're back, and now the entire tribe knows about them. And it just... there's something missing from it, and I don't know what it is. And it's just like they're trying to bank on nostalgia. But as we've talked about before, yeah, this movie came out 6 years. It came out in 2016. So it's 8 years old at this point. I mean, it's not nostalgia yet because it still feels new.
Yeah, to me, it's just a sequel. But there was so many random little callbacks. It's not doing anything for me. I'm gonna need a trailer with one of like the gut punch songs to really get me going here versus kind of like just more shenanigans.
Yeah, like we expect an ocean-faring adventure. Like you're not selling us on that because we know that they're an ocean-faring society now. So you need to give us more of what's the music, what's the heart of this thing, and not just Moana's trying to unite her ancestors together on all their various islands. I don't know, just feels very hollow, which like it's a movie that was stitched together from what was supposed to be like 6 to 8 episode series. So who the hell knows? Other things that were announced. Let's get into like the random stuff. I don't even know what this is. You're gonna have to tell me what is Monster Jam. I know that's a video game and like a monster truck thing, but like, is Disney adapting Monster Jam?
Apparently. I don't know if it's live action. I don't know if it's supposed to be a TV series, but yeah, no, they're partnered with Monster Jam, and I can't wait for the first like actual trailer of whatever this is to just start off with Sunday, and you see Bigfoot like pop up or something.
You know who's tied to this too, right? I just looked it up. I'll give you 3 hints, but you only probably need one. Who is in everything that no one wants him in anything anymore?
Kevin Hart.
Close. Who's his best buddy?
The Rock.
There you go. Dwayne Johnson's Monster Jam Disney project revealed, set in the world of motorsports.
Oh, no.
At D23, Dwayne Johnson announced a new live-action film set in the world of motorsports called Monster Jam. We've got an opportunity here that we could create something that is immersive and cool and fun, and also a live-action experience for our families all around the world. $10 says 90% of this movie is CGI because they can't afford the insurance on these monster trucks.
Well, you know what, Josh? The Rock was looking at things and said, you know what?
It doesn't matter.
Yeah. And you can't, and you will buy your ticket, but you'll only need the edge of your seat.
Wasn't that the Terminator 2 promo?
Oh, I don't remember, but that's the once a year when Monster Jam swings through our neighborhood, our area of the country, I still hear every year the same voice promo from the 90s. I don't know if that person's alive or dead now, but it is always Sunday. You'll buy you'll purchase your seat is for the whole ticket, but you'll only need the edge of it or whatever. It's just,
I do remember those.
I don't care.
Coming to the Rockford Metro Center. So let's talk about a fun one. The Mandalorian and Grogu, which still horrible title. But there was a leaked hype reel that was mostly just like Mandalorian series stuff, but we did get some actual movie footage that has already been filmed. Grogu's going to be hanging out with some Babu Fricks, and that's something that we want. Hey! Best thing to come out of the sequel trilogies was a Babu Frick.
Oh, yeah. Bad baby, no touching.
Bad baby. Genuinely, that looks pretty good, just from what they've already filmed and what they've put into this. I'm excited. I think it's a bad name, but overall, I think that this could be the revitalization of theatrical Star Wars stuff.
I'm hoping so because, yes, the title's terrible, and especially if they overdo the branding of it. I mean, if it's like Disney's Star Wars, The Mandalorian, the series, The Mandalorian Grogu, or something like that. Like it's full official. Listen, just say it's Mando and Baby Yoda. That should have been the title.
I was just about to say the only reason I'm sure they put Grogu in the title is to try and get more people to stop calling him Baby Yoda.
It's not going to work.
It's not. Even
No.
Pedro Pascal still calls him Baby Yoda. Like someone shared a video of someone brought a Baby Yoda Grogu doll into a rave at Comic-Con, and they showed it to Pedro Pascal after the Fantastic Four stuff, and he's like, Baby Yoda's just in that phase. He's just doing his Baby Yoda thing. And you could tell like when he's in Mandalorian mode, because he will refer to him as Grogu. But the minute he's out of it, like that name leaves his head, and he's just like, yeah, it's Baby Yoda. Everyone knows he's Baby Yoda.
The sizzle reel looked good. There was maybe about 20-30 seconds of new footage that was, that has been filmed. Honestly, I'm excited about it. We have not seen, a full-on AT in a freaking while, and I gotta find out if Baby Yoda can take out an AT. Because if he can, that's gonna be awesome.
But we did also get a trailer for the Skeleton Crew. Did you get a chance to look at that?
I tried, but I was just like, it's just another live-action Disney Star Wars thing, and I'm like, I can't tell. I got through maybe 30-40 seconds of it, and I was like, I wasn't sure. Is this supposed to be for kids? Is this supposed to be for adults? Is Jude Law a Jedi? Yes, he's a Jedi. It didn't appeal to me.
It gave me a little bit of Goonie vibes, but overall, like, yeah, this is not something that's geared towards us. It's like their first attempt at a live action kids show for Star Wars, which, like, fine. Star Wars is an all ages IP. It's not something that is strictly for millennials, Gen Xers, and people before, or like, and then the millennials and Zoomers have the prequels, and then Alpha has the sequel trilogy. Nothing like that. Like, Star Wars is for everyone, and you don't have to take everything in that is Star Wars. Like, you can if you want to, but if something doesn't appeal to you, you don't have to watch it. Like, I don't know that I'm gonna sit down and watch this. I might see if my kids want to watch it, and then I'll sit down and watch it with them. But overall, like, yeah, I didn't get anything out of it that I was like, oh damn, this looks great.
To me, the reason why it was kind of a hard to finish the trailer was I enjoy the Lego Star Wars shorts, the animations, and I enjoy the Lego Star Wars games. I don't need something that kind of gave me those vibes in live action, Because, like you said, it is very Goonies. It is obviously not meant for aging old men like
people
us.
over the age of 35.
Yes. But if I hear something positive from my friends who have kids, they're like, oh yeah, I watched it with them, it was fun, I will give it a shot. But I'm gonna withhold until I get that the parent didn't suffer through it before I watch it. That kind of deal.
Yeah. So there was a couple musical things that were announced as well, and we're speed running this. Like, I don't know if we really got through this because I threw myself off by muting my mic during the intro. One, Frozen, the Broadway musical, is going to be released on Disney Plus as a recorded musical, a la Newsies, a la Hamilton, which I am all for. Disney needs to do more of this.
Yes.
Because not everyone's going to get a chance to see these shows, and not everyone's going to get to see these shows with the top talent attached to it. And I am very excited because my oldest has seen Frozen on Broadway, like the stage show, but my two younger kids, they're not going to get a chance to see these on stage. Like, either they're going to stop running by the time we can afford to go take all 5 of us to a show, or, you know, we're going to be in like the biggest recession in the last 30, 40 years. And we're not going to have any money to go see it anyway. But overall, I'm very excited that Disney's bringing that to the platform, because it's not necessarily going to bring people on to watch it, but it will get more eyes on the show. And I think it'll get more people out to see other shows, which is probably the idea. Is like, oh, Disney on Broadway, look what they did. Let's go see Lion King. Let's go see Aladdin. Let's go see Little Mermaid, whatever else is going on.
I love Broadway stuff, but we live outside Chicago, and I cannot afford to go to New York's Broadway. So when Broadway in Chicago, as they brand it, comes through Chicago, I often pick up, go see maybe 2 or 3 shows a year. But depending on how the run is going in Broadway, in New York's Broadway, those are often different actors who are in those roles. Or if you're lucky, well, depending on how you want to determine luck, that show has ended in New York with those actors, so they've come to Broadway. Chicago, which is great. Or you might end up with the touring cast. Because that's the thing about live performances. There is the Broadway stars, and then there's we're also Broadway's. We've taken over for them. They're the understudies. We've now ascended to the throne. And then there's like the touring cast. And mind you, I love the touring cast, because anytime Cats comes through our area, which is every 3 to 4 years, there's an entirely new cast, and that cast in that moment with that new director, with that production, owns what they're doing. And so that's what I enjoy seeing, is like this, because the last time I saw Cats, there was some catnip in the air, and it was those cats. There was a lot of touching and a lot of rubbing through the Jellicle songs that was not in the previous ones.
Well, that's not Jellicle at all.
But it is catnip. So, I'm excited for that.
It's a good show.
Yeah,
I think there will be some faux uproar, because typically Kristoff is cast as a black man. So by the time the show starts getting amped up to be released on Disney Plus, I'm sure you'll get some faux outrage from the usual suspects. Who the fuck cares? That's
one of the things I love about Broadway, is that other than quote unquote traditional roles being played by a specific kind of person, such as Peter Pan is normally played by a woman.
How dare she?
And yeah, and Hairspray. I forget the actor's name, but
John Travolta.
The main character's mother is usually played by
John Travolta.
Yes, a drag performer or something like that. So I mean, there's stuff like that, but normally it is blind casting. It is who is best suited for the role, and I like that. That's another reason why I like seeing the touring productions, is because you get different nuances of the story based off who takes it over at that point.
Yeah, and like things get updated too. Like, I know Hugh Jackman's Music Man was updated. It's like Shapoopy is no longer about like specifically a girl, specifically chasing after a girl. They changed it to like the girl who's hard to get to the one who's hard to get, because I believe they changed, I forget the character's name, but he was Harold Hill's like sidekick for a long time, or they like ran schemes together. And I guess in the Hugh Jackman run, they made him gay, which like cool, like fine. But I just remember hearing it for the first time and just being like, that girl, wait, that's not what they said. Like, oh, okay, they're updating things. Like, okay, yeah, less problematic. That's good. Just gonna take some getting used to. Like, that's fine. Whatever.
Yeah. One of the things I liked when I did do some acting in high school, and and I've assisted with numerous projects around the area because my wife has really been really big in the theater in our local theater area around here, and being a stage manager and stuff like that. So I often assist. Is that the first production, like, if it's going to be the production, tends to be you follow what is in the book to the letter, and then the director's job is to interpret that as best as they're possible. Once that run is over, whoever's the director, it's their interpretation. And even then, each show is different because the actor may be on a different vibe that day. That's one of my favorite things, is that one of the last shows that that she stage managed that I was running sound for, we would be backstage giggling because there was a line that was said differently every single night depending on how that actor was feeling. And so the line could be incredibly bitter, or it could be incredibly funny, or it could be just like an offhand remark that just slides on by. And that is what I love about theater. So bring whatever it is you have. I will sit in the audience, or on my couch in this case of Frozen, and enjoy it.
Yeah, and they also, while we're on the subject of like inclusivity and diversity with roles, especially on the stage, Disney also announced that there will be a Hercules Broadway show, which will feature a black lead for this show. And then there's also going to be like a Frozen, a Hercules, and I think they announced a Tangled production that will be on their cruise ships. And cool. Very cool. Lots of musical, theatrical stuff, which like that clearly must bring in some good money for Disney if they're putting that much effort into it. But let's transition really quick into...
Wait. Oh. You skipped over one.
I skipped over one. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you skipped over The Greatest Showman. The musical is coming out. Now we can move on. I wanted that reaction because I know you hate it. And we're moving.
Such a good soundtrack.
We're
they just needed to make it a fictional person. Like, it's inspired by P.T. Barnum. You got me started, so now I have to finish the thought. My tism is kicking in. Yeah, like, fuck P.T. Barnum. Just make it someone else that like it's loosely inspired by P.T. Barnum, but we didn't want to bring in the problematic bullshit. Like, that's all you needed to do. Hubert Jackman with your $1 billion.
Who's Hubert Jackman? I know Huge Jacked Man, but I don't know Hubert Jackman.
Hubert Jackman? He played Pulverine.
Oh, did he play the Calvary too?
But yes, now that the rant is done, Disney did the thing that Disney does a lot with these D23 things, and they announced a shit ton of stuff for their parks. There's a lot of really cool stuff happening in their non-domestic parks. Disneyland Paris is getting an additional park similar to like how California Adventure is for Disneyland, and then that new portion of Disneyland Paris is getting a Frozen Land, which I don't know why they're not building that in the US. That's like their number one property in the US. And like, I know they're trying to intrigue people into going abroad, but people can't even afford to go domestically, let alone abroad. But there's a whole bunch of stuff. I took screenshots and sent them to you, Alex. There's Disney's first ever suspended roller coaster is going to be a Monsters Inc. inspired coaster, which everyone is speculating that's going to take over Muppet Vision 3D, which would be really sad. And also, I don't like that it's going to be positioned like, at least in Disney World, you have Toy Story Land on one side of Galaxy's Edge, and then you have the Muppet stuff on the other side. And now it's going to be sandwiched between two Pixar properties, if that's going to be the case. And I think that's bad diversity in terms of their branding. And also, like, do something with the Muppets. Stop just pushing them down continually. But the next thing they have is the Magic Kingdom is going to be expanding with a Villains Land, which again, people have been clamoring for it for a long time. I'm not extraordinarily interested in it. I think aesthetically it could be really fun, but like, again, give me Frozen. Give me the Tangled thing that they have going on at Tokyo Disney as well. Like, there's a whole bunch of stuff you've done abroad that would work wonderfully at home. So like, Villains Land, I'm ambivalent towards, but it could be fun. And a lot of this is also seemingly in response to Universal's Epic Universe that's opening up next summer, which there's like a Shrek universe and a Harry Potter stuff and How to Train Your Dragon. And then they're still trying to make the Dark Universe happen. So they're just making it happen in their theme park. So there's going to be like a Universal Monsters area where you can run into Dracula and Frankenstein's monster and the Invisible Man, which like every 5 steps you bump into him, it seems. But overall, like, I don't know. Then Disney's California Adventure is getting a Coco themed ride that's supposed to be breaking ground in 2026. Disney World in Frontierland is also going to be getting 2 Cars inspired attractions. They're getting rid of Tom Sawyer's River Adventure or something like that. It's a little boat ride. It's no one goes to it, so like I'm fine with them doing some branding stuff. If it has to be Cars, I'm not extraordinarily thrilled about it, but I know the Disney California Adventure Cars gets really big numbers, especially when they do the nighttime shaboom shaboom yada da 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 shaboom.
Yeah.
They do a whole like turning on the neon at the end of each day sort of thing. So like that's a big attraction at California Adventure. So I'm sure they'll try and do something in Disney World in Magic Kingdom with that. Avengers Campus in Disneyland is getting 2 new attractions, including Infinity Defense and Stark Flight Lab. So cool things happening with expansions there. You asked me a good question on this one that I don't think they answered, but the Mandalorian Grogu are going to be part of a brand new adventure coming to the Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run ride, where you get to hop in a simulator and pretend you're flying the Millennium Falcon as a 4-person team. And they're going to update that so that Mandalorian Grogu are part of that team instead of it being Hondo Ohnaka from Clone Wars and Rebels, which like I think that's going to be a timed event. They'll probably go back to the standard stuff with Hondo only because it's going to cost way too much money to update the pre-show stuff. But I do think that's something that maybe Disney is taking to heart after they took down the Jenny Nicholson video, because that's one thing that like the Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run could really do well is updating the ride a little bit instead of it just being the same sim every time.
I know a lot of this is definitely a response to the Epic Universal thing. Their new big 5-part park. It's going to come out. Out of all of these, the one I'm most interested in is actually the villains one, because the Dark World Universe one that they're doing at Universal, as you said, is going to have all the classic monsters, and there's going to be some really cool rides. One of the rides that is just a legacy ride that's been around forever has been the Haunted Mansion, and the Haunted Mansion is still incredibly popular. And one of the things I do like is that Six Flags Universal Knott's Berry Farm for like September into early November do their horror things with the monsters and the rides and everything scary, and especially Universal does themed parks themed attractions every year for whatever horror movies have been out. So they've had a Chucky one for a while, they've had a Jason one, blah 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 blah. So if Disney can lean into that a little bit, now I don't know if I'd want to go like in March and go, let's go to the horror part of it. Yeah. And especially since the live action adaptations have been rebranding the villains, because, Maleficent actually is just misunderstood. Cruella likes to dumpster dive, and she hasn't killed puppies yet. So I'm not sure how much that's actually going to work, or if they're going to lean into really the originals and let this be kind of like you're defeating evil kind of thing, instead of, well, let's go explore some gentler side of evil.
I think it's maybe a little bit more leaning into like a little bit of the Knott's Berry Farm, like Disney-fied Knott's Berry Farm, where you're going in there for the atmosphere. You're going in there to see the villains, and the villains will like make snide comments at you. Unless they're like a little child, then they'll just like sit there and call it and just be a little more nicer to the kids.
Yeah. And I like that.
And I mean, it creates more jobs that way too, because you have more face cast members who get to do character stuff. But the last thing I really want to touch on was Animal Kingdom, which like for as nice looking of a park as it is, I think it's my least favorite Disney park, only as far as Disney World goes, because like if you do the safari, if you do it's not the Matterhorn, whatever their version of the Matterhorn is, and you go through the Avatar land, like that's kind of it. There's only like really 3 big things, and then you get to walk around the tree, which is very cool. But they're doing a whole bake over on Animal Kingdom. It looks like there's going to be a South America area that's taking over Dinoland USA. There's going to be Encanto. There's going to be Coco. There's going to be an Indiana Jones ride in that area. I think the big thing is they're going to be revamping the Bugs Life ride into a Zootopia ride, which a little sad because the Bugs Life ride is infamous for being terrifyingly scary. And Zootopia will probably be a little more family friendly. But then there's also a new nighttime parade coming to Disney World in 2025 called Disney Starlight, which I'm excited for because I will be going in fall 2025 with my family. Ooh. So humble brag.
Humble brag if I spent money.
I spent a lot of money. Not as much as last time I went, but it's still going to cost a pretty penny, but it'll be worth it. It's our last kid's 4th birthday. So, going out with a bang, and then we'll start transitioning into more adult family trips like Disneyland. All right, so we're going to close out here real quick talking about sequels. Alex, let's start with some sequels.
Ooh, coming December 2025, James Cameron's opus continues with Avatar 3, Fire and Ash. No footage, just a logo and a title.
Continues / title. Maybe concludes.
No. It's all about confirmed.
They wrote the third one as like a potential conclusion, didn't they?
Yes, but
Avatar 2 made enough money, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So they filmed 2 and 3 and the beginning of 4 back to all at once because of the child actors and wanting to do that. I believe they filmed up to Act 2 of the 4th movie, and Cameron basically said, I don't get permission to finish filming these things unless the second one pops, and 2.2 billion it popped.
Yeah.
So, and he came out at one point. They're filming them right now. He's doing post production on the 3rd one, and they're filming the 5th and 6th one, or 7th and 8th. Who knows how many there are at this point? But he has basically said, yeah, this is what I'm doing for the rest of my life, because the dude is in his 70s now.
Yeah, which that doesn't feel right, but yeah, it makes sense. I'm fine with it. I recently just watched the second one again, and it is a nice world to be in. Like, the stories are very generic. Like, you could argue that the first movie and the second movie share the same story. They just changed the setting. But
easily,
overall, like, it's still just, it's a beautiful world to look in, and there's so much like visual storytelling that goes on in there. Like, I remember watching it, I think the second time I ever watched Avatar. No, I was sick. It was when we were getting ready for Avatar 2, and I was like, I'm gonna be healthy, but I need to watch Avatar 1 again. And I was like messaging you, and I was like, I never noticed that like he has 5 fingers and everyone else has 4, and like his nose is different to Sigourney Weaver's avatars. There's a whole bunch of different stuff that they throw in there that, like, you can see how like perfectly cloned Sully's avatar is compared to everyone else before him. Like, there's always like these little inconsistencies everywhere. Mm-hmm. And then like in the second one, you get that with like the genetic stuff where his kids have 5 fingers, and like maybe their noses are a little different, or they have eyebrows compared to other people. And it's just little things that you don't see that in other movies, where like there's just like that minutia of storytelling.
The story of the first one is just what's always happened. Someone goes to a new world, becomes a part of their culture. There's been tons of those. The second one is unarguably the same story, but this time they're on the run because the bad guys, the humans, are back again. And so it's about embracing and learning that new culture. And then you start learning that, Na'vi cultures are different. There's not just one Na'vi. These are the water Na'vi. And apparently the third one, there's going to be
firebenders.
Exactly. If this is some kind of like really weird James Cameron just really was like, hey, I had the Avatar title trademarked since I think he's like 96, 97, because he wanted to do it right after Titanic, but tech wasn't there. And if this is some kind of like secret like SEO thing where he's just like, okay, I got the water. 4 is going to be like earth and it's going to be like stone and earthquakes. It's gonna be great. He just slowly is just whittling that SEO against Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Yeah, it's just a little screw you to everyone that got mad that he had stolen the Avatar IP.
Exactly, but no footage, nothing, just the title, and he's working on them. So,
which that's fine. I don't think we need too much until like maybe April, May of next year. Like there might be a teaser by the time the Super Bowl rolls around, but who knows? So what's the other? There was there's another 2025. Is Toy Story next year?
I think Toy Story 5 is next year. Yeah.
So Woody's back for some reason. He's checking in on his pals, but maybe no Bo Peep. And Bonnie has now become addicted to her tablet, and the synchronicity of apps to toys has caused a whole bunch of Buzz Lightyears to go rogue, and it's the toys against modern technology and AI. Which I still think the irony of studios being like, yeah, let's keep making AI the bad guy while we continue to try and push it.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that was just, there wasn't even a title, but then again, none of the Toy Stories had anything but, the numeral after it. Apparently that one's 2026. The big ones for next year are Stitch. That's the big summer release.
Lilo and Stitch, that's right. And then Elio is the next Pixar thing, which that's next year, which I don't think they did anything for that. It was more about like, hey, Toy Story 5, Incredibles 3. There's one other one that they announced that I don't remember now. But yeah, it's all sequels, and it's frustrating because they even came out and said Frozen 2 left us with a lot of questions that cannot be answered in one story, pretty much confirming that there will be a Frozen 4. And I messaged you after I saw that tweet, and I was like, there were no questions about like what happens next after Frozen 2. All those questions were like, but what does this mean in this movie? Because that makes no sense.
Yeah, we have Zootopia 2 coming next year, which we already knew. To me, I was honestly stunned that they announced not only Incredibles 3, but Brad Bird coming back for Incredibles 3, because it seemed like he was done with. He's like, it seemed like after the last one, he really hasn't done anything, released anything, and it seemed like he said all he had to say, but he's back, and so Incredibles 3.
Yeah.
Which, man, that would be wild if they released like Incredibles 3 like June 19th, and then like Fantastic Four June 26th, just so Pixar could be like, hey, we've been doing this right for like 15 years now. And we have a trilogy. You guys never got past the second movie.
You have a trilogy of 2 really okay movies and 1 really bad one, and now you're rebooting again for the second time in 4 movies.
Yeah.
We didn't talk. They showed some stuff like Daredevil, Born Again. They showed some more Captain America stuff, which we did. The people in the crowd got the reveal of the Red Hulk face, and I mean, it looks like what you would think. It looks like Harrison Ford CGI'd onto a Red Hulk, and someone went viral because they were like, "This is just the Hulk but red," and someone retweeted like, "You'll never guess his name."
Wait till the next one where there's a Hulk, but they're gray.
Wait till there's the She-Hulk that's also red.
Is it Red She-Hulk?
You'll have to wait and find out.
Ooh, I'm excited. I love suspense.
But the D23, it's usually a good time. There's some. It's a really big tech show off too. Like they had an interactive Rocket Raccoon TVA thing that if you've seen like Turtle Talk with Crush from Disney World, I'm guessing that's probably how they did it. They just had someone off to the side that's looking at a camera and they're just interacting with them, because the animation on the rocket is very rough. Like it's just like they are saying words, my mouth is open and words are coming out. But overall, I think D23 probably did the job of raising some stock prices and raising interest, but we're not going to see any of the park related stuff from Disney completed until probably like closer to 2030 at this point, especially with park expansions. So if Epic Universe is as big as it hyping itself up to be, Disney will already be like 5 years behind on bringing those people back to their parks.
There's nothing that I saw that made me mad. There's nothing that really excited me. I got some surprises, like, Incredibles 3. I was like, oh, I did not expect that. Toy Story 5, has been rumored. The plot doesn't do a lot for me. 50 Buzz Lightyears go kind of crazy, which is not the exact plot, but before Pixar was bought by Disney, they had the rights to anything Pixar made, and they were making their own Toy Story movie, and it was supposed to be that a glitch had happened to Buzz, causing him to like factory reset and kind of go a little wonky. And so the objective was they had to get Buzz back to the factory to be fixed so that their Buzz would come back. And so when I saw this, 50 Buzzes are all like breaking out and acting all weird, I was like, okay, that's just the kernel of the last one. And Toy Story is not going to sit there and show them like demolishing Buzzes and destroying them. They're probably going to incapacitate them like, the first movie would lose an arm or something and try to get them all back to the factory to reset them, or be really horrible and be like, we need a firmware update them. And so
I mean, that I was just thinking that could be where they've got Trixie played by Kristen Schaal. She's really big on computers, so like that would be a good way of utilizing someone who has made a pretty good name for herself in the voice acting market. So like Trixie being useful in a case where they need to utilize technology to defeat technology makes sense to me.
it could be fun.
And I mean, Toy Story is one of the biggest underdogs ever in terms of like every time there's a sequel announced, everyone's like, that doesn't sound right. That doesn't sound great. Why do we need another one of these? And then it turns out to be amazing and it makes close to $1 billion every time.
Yeah, Toy Story 1 came out of nowhere, first like full-length computer animated thing. Toy Story 2 was kind of a rush production because they needed it out, and there's a famous story of their servers went down at one point and nobody had a copy of it except for this one employee who had just started pregnancy leave and maternity leave, and she had downloaded the last night's copy so she could work from home. And and literally because she did that, they had they were able to actually get the movie, off her laptop, back it up, continue working on it, release it in time. I mean, like you said, Toy Story 3, dear God, I bawling from the hand holding scene up into the play.
When somebody loved me sequence for an entire movie.
Oh yeah. Oh yes, Toy Story 2. It's some tears, full on. The fourth one doesn't do a whole lot for me, but I'm willing to give it a shot because it has not been. I am not one of those people, or at least I'm really, really trying not to be. You destroyed my childhood. How dare you? Just like we glossed over, they gave a Snow White trailer, and there's nothing about that trailer that made me go, "You've ruined my childhood. I'm gonna go cry." If anything,
there's nothing about that trailer that makes me think this was necessary. Like the final shot of the trailer is the hag handing over the poison apple to Snow White, and either they like glossed over it with whatever filter that it looks entirely CGI, or they just CGI that entire moment. It's like, what the hell is the point of this if you're just going to computer generate the entire scene or the entire movie?
So the Snow White trailer, the thing that I find the most interesting is the filter palette effect, whatever it is you want to call it, that they're using, because the first grouping of Disney animated movies, you have Snow White, Sleeping Beauty. They have such a distinct look because it was hand drawn, inked, cell by cell, the layerings, that they're just, every frame is gorgeous, and it looks like they're trying to replicate that with this one. And I'm not sure it works yet, but they also have delayed this like a year and a half to redo the Seven Dwarfs into something completely different and rework the script and stuff. So I'm willing to give it a shot, but you're right. It doesn't look quite right. It reminded me of when years back they re-released Beauty and the Beast as a 3D feature. And so you go there, you sit with your glasses. And it looks cool because they basically took the layers of the animation, they separated, so that's where you get the depth. Of course, the ballroom scene, which had been CGI'd when it came out, looked gorgeous. But there's when Belle is doing her Provincial Life song and she like ascends to the top of the hill, she does a spinning move. And in 2D, it's fine because you have the 2D texture, the flatness, and she spins in the way the cloth moves. But in 3D, you can tell it's a flat 2D figure that kind of like someone spun around, so it kind of looked like a little flag flipping, like her dress. And I was like, oh. And then, of course, she stood still, and it's like, okay, you're fine. So that's what kind of reminds me of. It's either going to work and be gorgeous and like that movie come to life, that anime movie come to life in this style, or it's going to be such a distraction. And you're right. The apple is a distraction.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that I think Gal Gadot, however you pronounce her name, I think her as the evil queen is actually some really good casting because she can just ham it up and you can't tell if she's being bad or if she's just having fun. I think she has the voice, or at least they did something in post-production to make the voice work in the trailer. And I think Rachel Zegler, controversies about her aside, that includes her casting as well as like behind the scenes stuff and like personal stuff that I know a lot of people are not big fans of hers. They did a leak of the Whistle While You Work sequence came up and I was like, yeah, this is fine. Like it's a good updated version of Whistle While You Work. She's teaching the dwarfs how to clean their house instead of her taking initiative with the animals and being like, let's clean up the house for these messy little slobs.
I am going to reserve judgment because as much as I have disliked all the live action remakes that they've done, the
only good one still is Cinderella, in my opinion.
The Cinderella one is still gorgeous. It's gorgeous to look at.
Despite Cinderella being an absolute idiot. Like, I cannot get over. We're going way over for a bonus episode, but I cannot get over the sequence where she meets Prince Charming, Robb Stark, in the woods for the first time when they're doing the stag hunt, and he's sitting there talking to her, and he's like, "Oh, you don't get out much, do you?" She's like, "No, I usually don't. But you scared the stag, and he's my friend. I looked into his eyes, and we understood each other." And he's like, "You're weird. I like you." And then Dario Duck Sauce, whatever his name is, comes up, and he's like, "Hey, Your Highness." He's like, "My name is Kit. My name is Kit. Kit is my name. I am not a highness. Do not. I am Kit. Please." Do not be suspicious that I am saying my name is Kit. Okay, Kit is my name. And she's just like, "Oh, you're an apprentice. How charming." And it's like, did you not just hear that interaction with the other guy? Like, you're right there.
True. But can we all agree that other than that, the best Cinderella adaptation is Ever After?
Brandy.
Drew Barrymore.
No, Brandy. Brandy's
the Brandy
Rodgers
one?
and Hammerstein interpretation.
Oh. Gonna have to rewatch that once.
It's possible.
Ever After is so good.
I've actually never seen Ever After. I know that's something that I need to get. I need to add that to my list of things that I have not seen. But
you've never seen Ever After?
It came out when I was like 14. I'm like, I'm not gonna go see this chick movie.
I went. Well, to be fair, my mom took me and saw it, but I loved it. But I love that movie. Okay, I will give the Rodgers and Hammerstein Brandy one a shot if you give Ever After a shot.
Okay, I'll get on in like 10 years.
7 months. All right, Josh, let's get out of here.
Yeah, all right. Everyone, thanks so much for taking the time to be here. Alex, thanks for taking the time to do this on an off day. Don't forget to join our Discord. Link is in the episode description. Follow us on all the social medias at Talking Smack Pod, Blue Sky, Instagram, Hive Social, Threads, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Lonnie's website. Email us at tsmackpod@gmail.com. Thank you to Leo Allen for our musical themes, Beppo for our original avatars, Richard Oils Studios for our Ricky avatar. Please like, subscribe, rate, review on your podcatcher of choice. And thank you again so much for listening. Take care. We will see you on Wednesday for Talking Smackumentaries.
I can't believe you've never seen Ever After. It is like a perfect
please don't
movie.
act like that's essential viewing.
It introduced Enya to the world.
Who sings Return to Innocence? I can't remember anymore. Hey, watch Star Trek. Sorry.